They say time heals all wounds, but what if I told you time does far more than just heal? It teaches, it transforms, it reveals truths that no book, no mentor, and no shortcut ever could. You see, there are lessons in life that you simply cannot rush. You won't find them in self-help manuals or motivational speeches. You discover them only after you've lived, after you've stumbled, succeeded, lost, and loved. Time doesn't just move forward, it deepens you, it peels back the layers of who you think you are to reveal who you really are. And it doesn't do it all at once. It's in the quiet evenings after heartbreak, the long mornings of doubt, the unexpected laughter with a friend, or even the silent tears when no one's watching. Over time, you begin to see patterns, not just in others, but in yourself. The way you react, the things you cling to, the fears that quietly run your life. And then slowly, something changes. You begin to see clearer, feel deeper, judge less, love more. Maybe you've heard your parents or grandparents say, "You'll understand when you're older." And maybe you rolled your eyes. I know I did. But now I get it. Because wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about having lived enough to see through the noise. It's about recognizing that some truths only reveal themselves through the passage of time and experience. So here's a question for you. Have you ever gone through something that made absolutely no sense at the time, but later looking back, it taught you something life-changing? If yes, you already know what I mean. If not, trust me, your moment will come. Because time isn't just something that passes. Time is a teacher. And today, we're diving into 7 golden life lessons that only time, not textbooks, not TED Talks, can truly teach you. In today's world, speed is everything. We want fast results, instant replies, same-day delivery, overnight success. We've been taught to believe that if something takes time, it's broken. Or worse, it's a waste of time. But here's the truth that only life and enough time can teach you. Patience isn't weakness, it's power. In fact, it might be the most underestimated superpower you'll ever develop. Let me ask you something. Have you ever planted a seed and expected it to become a tree overnight? Of course not. You water it, you protect it, and you trust the process, even though nothing seems to happen at first. That's what real growth looks like in nature and in life. And yet when it comes to our careers, our relationships, our healing, we panic if things don't happen right now. We chase quick wins and shortcuts hoping to skip the slow parts, not realizing those slow parts are actually where the real transformation happens. Time has a way of teaching you this. Maybe you were in love once and it fell apart. You wanted the pain to disappear instantly, but it didn't. Maybe you started a business and it didn't take off in 6 months like you hoped, or you tried to change a habit and failed more times than you can count. But later, when you look back, you'll notice something. Every moment you were waiting, struggling, or starting over was shaping you. It was teaching you humility, resilience, focus, trust. See, the most beautiful things in life take time to unfold. A strong career isn't built in a weekend. A deep love isn't found in a swipe. And personal growth, that's a lifelong practice, not a 7-day challenge. Patience is what allows you to stay grounded when progress feels invisible. It's what keeps you moving when everything around you says give up. And it's what lets you enjoy the journey, not just chase the destination. So the next time you feel behind, slow, or stuck, remember this. Fast doesn't always mean better. Sometimes, the longer it takes, the stronger the foundation. And just like a seed becoming a tree, you are growing even when it doesn't look like it yet. We don't like to talk about failure, do we? It's uncomfortable, embarrassing, sometimes even shameful. Especially in a world where all we seem to celebrate is winning fast success stories, highlight reels, overnight millionaires. We scroll through social media and see polished photos, perfect launches, and people who made it. But here's what no one tells you. Behind almost every story of success, there's a long trail of failure, quiet, painful, and often invisible. Failure is not the end, it's feedback, it's redirection. It's a teacher that shows up when success hasn't arrived yet. And if you're brave enough to stay in the game, after failing, you'll realize something life-changing. Failure doesn't break you, it builds you. Let me share a story. Years ago, I started a project I believed in with all my heart. I poured in time, passion, energy, even money. And you know what happened? It crashed. Hard. No audience, no traction, no applause, just silence. At first, I was devastated. I questioned everything: my talent, my worth, my ability to make good decisions. I wanted to disappear, quit, never try again. But slowly through the dust, I realized something: I didn't fail because I was worthless. I failed because I was learning. The wrong strategy, the wrong timing, the wrong partner. All of it was information. Painful, yes, but useful if I was willing to face it. You see, we grow up thinking failure is the opposite of success. But that's not true. Failure is the pathway to success. Every inventor, every creator, every entrepreneur, every artist you admire, they've all failed. Repeatedly. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Walt Disney was once told he lacked imagination. J.K. Rowling got rejected by 12 publishers before anyone touched Harry Potter. Failure didn't stop them. It shaped them. So let me ask you, what's a moment in your life that felt like a total failure? But when you look back now, you realize it taught you something essential. Maybe it made you more resilient. Maybe it forced you to change direction. Maybe it humbled you and made you more grounded. Failure strips away your ego. It reminds you that you're human, that you're not perfect. And that's a beautiful thing, because perfection is a myth. Growth is real. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. Failure hurts. It can feel like your heart is cracking open. But guess what? Cracks are where the light gets in. When you fail, you are in rare company. The company of those who dared. You dared to try, to create, to hope. And that makes you different than those who never risked anything. And here's the most powerful truth I've learned. The people who succeed the most are usually the ones who failed the most. The difference is they didn't give up. They failed forward. They used every mistake as a stepping stone, every disappointment as fuel, every no as a lesson. And you can do the same. So if you're watching this and you're carrying the weight of a recent failure, a job you lost, a dream that fell apart, a relationship that didn't work out, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not done. You are being shaped. This is not the end of your story. It's a chapter, a messy, painful, necessary chapter on the road to becoming who you were always meant to be. Breathe, reflect, regroup, and try again. Not because it's easy, but because you're worth it. Every great life is built on the ashes of moments that didn't go as planned. And every time you rise after falling, you become stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than before. So don't fear failure. Welcome it, learn from it, and keep going. Because failure isn't a dead end. It's just the beginning of your next breakthrough. Let's be honest. One of the hardest truths to accept in life is this: people change. And sometimes the people you love the most change in ways you never expected. It's painful. You meet someone, you grow close, you laugh together, you share dreams, and you think maybe this will last forever. But then something shifts. They grow, you grow, and suddenly you're not walking in the same direction anymore. At first, you try to hold on. You fight to keep things the way they were, because the memories are beautiful. The bond was real, and letting go feels like betrayal. But here's what life teaches you. Over time, change doesn't mean failure. It means evolution. Think about it. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. So why do we expect others to stay the same? We are not static beings. We are fluid, unfolding, ever-changing. Our dreams shift. Our beliefs evolve. Our needs deepen. And sometimes that means we outgrow relationships or they outgrow us. It doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It doesn't mean the time shared was meaningless. It just means the season has changed. And that's okay. Let me tell you a personal story. There was a friend I used to be inseparable with. We were in each other's lives every single day. Coffee dates, phone calls, deep talks. We went through breakups, career struggles, big dreams, and tiny victories together. But slowly, life pulled us in different directions. She moved cities. I changed careers. Our conversations became less frequent, then shallow, then silent. At first, I was heartbroken. I thought I did something wrong. I blamed myself. But after months of reflection, I realized no one did anything wrong. We simply grew apart. And in that growth, we each found different versions of ourselves, versions that didn't fit the old dynamic anymore. Here's what I've learned. Holding on too tightly to what can block you from embracing what is. The truth is, people are meant to evolve, and so are connections. Sometimes letting go isn't about giving up. It's about honoring the natural rhythm of life. Just like the seasons, relationships have cycles. Some are meant to last a lifetime, others just a chapter. But every one of them carries meaning. Every one of them leaves a mark. Let me ask you something. Is there someone in your life you're still holding on to? Not because they're good for you now, but because they used to be. Are you clinging to a version of someone who no longer exists? If so, I want to invite you to try something different. Give them permission to change, and give yourself permission to change too. You don't have to harbor resentment. You don't have to force closeness that's no longer there. You can bless them, thank them, and lovingly release them without bitterness. It's not indifference, it's acceptance. There's a beautiful quote that says, "We don't meet people by accident. They're meant to cross our path for a reason." Some teach us lessons, some offer companionship, some show us what we want, others show us what we don't. But in the end, every person is part of your becoming, even the ones who drift away. And sometimes it's only after they've left that you fully understand the role they played in your life. So here's the takeaway. Change is not the enemy. It's a signal that you're growing. It's a call to honor what was while making space for what is. You can cherish the memories without needing to recreate them. You can miss someone and still know that letting go is right. You can love people for who they were, while releasing them to become who they need to be. And in doing so, you give yourself that same freedom to keep evolving without guilt. So the next time you feel sadness because something or someone isn't the same anymore, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, people change. And that's okay, because life moves forward. And so must we. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you truly took care of yourself, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally? Not out of guilt. Not because someone told you to, but simply because you recognized your own worth and decided to honor it. If that question feels hard to answer, you're not alone. You see, for so much of our lives, especially when we're younger, we're taught to put others first. Be the reliable one, the strong one, the giver. And somewhere along the way, we start believing that taking care of ourselves is selfish, that resting means we're lazy, that saying no means we're unkind, that asking for space means we don't care. But over time, through exhaustion, through burnout, through emotional crashes, we learn a deeper truth. Self-care isn't selfish, it's survival. Let me paint a picture. Imagine your life as a car running on fuel. Every day, people ask you to drive them somewhere emotionally, physically, mentally. You take them to work, to comfort, to understanding, to support. And you keep driving, giving, going. But what happens if you never stop to refuel? Eventually, you break down. And when that happens, not only can you no longer help others, you can't even help yourself. That's what neglecting self-care looks like. It's not noble, it's not sustainable, and it's definitely not love, at least not the healthy kind. You may have grown up hearing that good people sacrifice everything, that love means always being available, that success means working yourself into the ground. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't show up fully in your relationships, your work, or your purpose if you're running on fumes. And I know what you might be thinking, but I have responsibilities. People depend on me. Absolutely. And that's even more reason to protect your energy. Because when you take care of yourself, you become more present, more grounded, more able to serve, give love, without losing yourself in the process. Let's break this down into something real. Self-care isn't just spa days or green smoothies or expensive vacations, although those can be great too. It's the deeper stuff. Saying no without guilt when your plate is already full. Turning off your phone and allowing silence to soothe your nervous system. Journaling your thoughts instead of bottling them up. Going to therapy, not because something's wrong, but because you want to grow. Choosing sleep over one more hour of hustle. Letting go of people who drain your peace. Reminding yourself, I matter too. Self-care is personal. It's sacred. It's not about trends, it's about truth. Here's a thought. What if caring for yourself was the most generous thing you could do for the people you love? Think about it. When you're rested, clear-headed, emotionally balanced, you listen better. You're less reactive. You bring patience into conflict, kindness into conversation, and creativity into chaos. You stop lashing out from burnout. You stop saying yes out of obligation. You stop abandoning your own needs just to earn approval. You become someone who gives from a place of abundance, not depletion. That kind of presence, it's powerful, it's healing, and it starts with choosing yourself, not instead of others, but alongside them. So let me ask you this. What's one small way you could care for yourself today, not tomorrow? Not when everything else is handled. Today. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's finally making that doctor's appointment. Maybe it's unfollowing people who make you feel like you're not enough. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for being tired. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because you're worthy of being whole, healthy, and at peace. And remember this, you are not a machine. You are a living, breathing, feeling human being. You have limits. You have needs. And honoring those needs is not a weakness. It's wisdom. The kind of wisdom that only comes with time experience and a little bit of self-compassion. So the next time someone tells you that self-care is selfish, smile and keep choosing yourself because you know better now. You can't be your best for the world unless you're first whole within yourself. Have you ever been having a perfectly good day? And then you open your phone scroll through Instagram or Facebook, and suddenly you feel like you're not doing enough. Someone just bought a new house. Someone else just got promoted. Another person's on their second vacation this month. And there you are, sitting in your kitchen in the same sweatpants, trying to figure out what to make for dinner. Sound familiar? It's like joy was in your hands, until comparison quietly stole it away. That's the thing about comparison. It's sneaky. It doesn't scream. It whispers. And it doesn't always come from jealousy, it often comes from insecurity. You're not angry at others for succeeding. You just feel like maybe you're not enough in comparison. But here's the truth. You are not behind. You are not broken. You're just on your own timeline. And that timeline doesn't need to match anyone else's. Let's pause and think about this. Why do we compare so much? Because we've been conditioned to. We grow up with report cards, trophies, rankings, awards. Then we move into adulthood, and it's still the same game, just with different prizes. Followers, salaries, houses, relationship status. We measure success by how we appear, not how we feel. And social media. It magnifies it all. You're not just comparing yourself to your neighbors anymore. You're comparing yourself to millions of people around the world 24/7. And the worst part, you're comparing your reality to their highlight reel. But here's something you probably already know. Deep down, everyone is fighting battles you can't see. Behind the perfect photos are imperfect lives. Behind the filtered smiles are unseen struggles. That couple that looks so happy might be barely holding on. That entrepreneur showing off their income might be drowning in stress. That influencer with the perfect body may be quietly battling self-worth every single day. When you compare yourself to someone else's life, you're comparing your behind the scenes to their best moments. And that's not only unfair, it's dangerous. Because it robs you of gratitude. It blinds you to your own progress. It makes you chase things that don't even align with your soul. Let me share a personal reflection. There was a time in my life when I was constantly comparing myself to others in my field. Every win they had felt like proof that I was falling behind. If they were publishing books, getting speaking gigs, growing their audience, I felt small, invisible, like I wasn't doing enough. And you know what that did? It didn't motivate me. It paralyzed me. I stopped focusing on my own work. I doubted my voice. I started creating from fear, not from purpose. It took stepping away, unplugging, reflecting, reconnecting, to realize their journey is not my journey. And my value isn't defined by how I stack up against someone else. It's defined by how true I'm being to myself. So here's the shift. Instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, what am I meant to grow here and now? Instead of thinking they're ahead of me, think, they're walking a different path, and I wish them well. Because someone else's success is not your failure, and your path is not their competition. Try this practice the next time you catch yourself comparing. Pause. Notice the thought. Don't judge it. Just name it. That's comparison talking. Redirect. Ask, what am I proud of today? Even if it's small. Celebrate others. Practice joy for someone else without making it about you. That's emotional maturity. Return to self. Reflect on what truly matters to you, not what looks good to others. And here's a reminder. I hope you carry with you, your life is not a race. There's no finish line you're late to. The milestones that truly matter, peace, purpose, love, growth, aren't measured by clocks or likes or paychecks. They're felt in quiet moments, in deep breaths, in small steps forward, in choosing presence over pressure. So the next time you feel comparison creeping in, come back home to yourself, to your values, your vision, your voice, because that's where real joy lives. Not in someone else's feed, but in your own unfolding story. And trust me, your story is worth living, fully, authentically, on your terms. Let's be real for a moment. Life isn't perfect. We all have struggles, stressful jobs, failed relationships, unexpected bills, health scares, moments of loss. And sometimes the world feels like it's moving too fast, too loud, and too heavy. In those moments, it's easy to get caught in the spiral. What's missing? What went wrong? Why can't I just be happy? But then something shifts. Maybe it's a quiet sunrise. Maybe it's a laugh from a friend. Maybe it's the smell of coffee on a cold morning. And suddenly, for just a second, you feel okay, grounded, grateful. That's the power of gratitude. It doesn't erase the chaos, but it gives you a different lens to see it through. You see, gratitude isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's not a spiritual bypass. It's not toxic positivity. It's not about saying, oh, well, others have it worse. It's about saying, yes, this is hard. And I can still find beauty here. Gratitude doesn't ask you to ignore your pain. It simply invites you to notice what's also true. And when you do that, when you train your eyes to see what's working, what's here, what's good, your entire experience of life begins to shift. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, I went through one of the toughest seasons of my life. Everything felt like it was falling apart. Career, health, relationships. I was overwhelmed, bitter, tired, and honestly, lost. One morning, in the middle of that mess, I sat down with a notebook. Not to fix anything, not to write goals, just to feel less broken. And I asked myself one question: what is still good? At first, I couldn't think of anything. But then slowly, little things started to appear. A friend who texted to check in, a warm bed, the ability to breathe deeply, the way my dog looked at me with unconditional love, the fact that I was still here. That list saved me. Not because it made the pain go away, but because it reminded me joy still lives here. Peace is still possible. I am not alone. Here's the thing. Your mind is wired to look for problems. It's part of how we survive. But thriving, that comes from training your attention to see what's right, not just what's wrong. Gratitude is not a feeling you wait for. It's a practice you choose. It's a habit you build daily, intentionally. Let's make it real. Gratitude can look like saying thank you to your body for carrying you through the day, pausing to enjoy a quiet meal, even if it's simple, texting someone just to say, I appreciate you, journaling 3 things that went right today, no matter how small, looking up at the sky and remembering how big this life really is. Gratitude doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be honest. And here's a powerful truth. Gratitude transforms, not just how you feel, but how you live. When you practice gratitude, you become more patient because you stop rushing past the present. You become more peaceful because you stop obsessing over what's missing. You become more generous because you start seeing how much you already have. You become more resilient because you realize even the hard moments hold hidden gifts. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances. It changes you. And that inner shift, that's where real power lives. Let me ask you this. What are you grateful for right now in this moment? Not someday, not when life is perfect. Now, take a deep breath. Look around. What's still beautiful? Who's still here? What have you survived? And most importantly, what have you learned through it all? Because sometimes the deepest gratitude comes not from things going right, but from knowing you grew stronger when they didn't. So the next time life feels chaotic, pause. Don't reach for control. Reach for awareness. Ask yourself, what can I appreciate even here? That one question can shift your entire experience. Because joy isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you choose. In small moments, in daily reflections, in silent thank yous, whispered in the dark. And when you live from that space of gratitude, you stop chasing happiness. You start recognizing it right here, right now, exactly where you are. There's something about getting older that shifts your perspective completely. You start to see time differently, not as an endless supply, but as something incredibly precious. When we're younger, it feels like we have all the time in the world. We say things like someday, maybe next year, or I'll get to it when things settle down. But as the years go by, something clicks. You realize you won't always have later. You start to see that time is not just something you spend. It's something you invest. And like any investment, you begin to ask, am I spending it on what truly matters? Let's take a moment and be honest. How many hours have you spent stressing over things that never really mattered? How many days have slipped away, buried in busyness, but not meaning? How many conversations were rushed? How many sunsets were missed? How many dreams were shelved, waiting for the right time? It's not to make you feel guilty. It's just to say you deserve more than a life filled with distraction and delay. As we age, priorities start to shift. The things that used to feel so important, fitting in chasing approval, winning arguments, begin to lose their shine. And in their place, something deeper takes root. A desire for real connection, a longing for peace over noise, a hunger for purpose, not just productivity. You start to notice that it's not the flashy moments that stay with you. It's the quiet ones. The phone call from someone who truly listens, the laughter around a dinner table, the book that made you cry, the walk where you finally breathed deeply for the first time in days. Those are the moments that matter. And they don't demand money or fame or perfection. They just require your presence. Let me share something that changed the way I view time. A mentor once told me, every yes you give is a no to something else. Think about that. Every time you say yes to scrolling for hours, you say no to finishing that book you care about. Every time you say yes to toxic people out of obligation, you say no to meaningful time with those who nourish you. Every time you say yes to staying safe in your comfort zone, you say no to the version of you who's waiting just beyond it. Time isn't just slipping away, it's being chosen every day, whether we realize it or not. So here's the invitation. Start living with intention. Ask yourself more often, is this how I want to feel right now? Is this how I want to be remembered? If I only had 5 more years, would I still be doing this? These aren't morbid questions. They're clarifying ones. Because when you remember that your time is limited, you start making better choices. Not perfect ones, just better. You spend more time with people who see you not just use you. You make room for your passions, not just your obligations. You say no more easily, not out of selfishness, but self-respect. I'll leave you with this. At the end of our lives, no one wishes they had worked longer hours. No one brags about having the cleanest inbox. No one finds peace in the number of likes they got on a post. What people remember are the moments they lived fully, the love they gave freely, the risks they took bravely, the people they touched deeply, and the time they finally spent on what truly mattered. So if today was one of your last 500 days on Earth, would you still be doing what you're doing? Would you still chase the same goals, spend time with the same people, think the same thoughts? If not, let this be a gentle wake-up call. Not to panic, not to rush, but to realign. Because your time is precious. And you, my friend, are worth spending it on the things that feed your soul. Don't wait for someday. Live while you can, love while you can, create, speak, rest, explore while you still have time. This moment, it's not just passing by, it's offering you a choice to spend it or to invest it in something that truly matters. Choose wisely. So here we are. We've just walked through 7 golden lessons, each one shaped not by theory, but by time. Not found in books, but carved into us by the highs and lows of real life. And here's the thing. You don't need to have mastered all of them. You're not behind. You're becoming. Because life isn't a test with a final score. It's a journey of unfolding. A process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. Over and over again. Some lessons hit you early in your 20s. Others don't make sense until your 50s. And a few, they'll whisper to you your entire life before you finally say, "Ah, now I see." That's the beauty of it. You don't need to rush wisdom. You just need to stay open to it. Think of time as your greatest teacher, not always gentle, but always honest. It teaches through loss, through waiting, through failure, through love, through quiet mornings and painful nights, through people who enter and exit your life like seasons. And if you pay attention, time will give you what no shortcut ever can. Depth, perspective, compassion. So wherever you are right now in your growth, your healing, your confusion, let this be your reminder. You are learning even when it feels like you're lost. You are growing even if it doesn't show yet. You are wiser than you think because you're still here, still listening, still choosing to reflect. And that matters. As you continue walking your own path, carry this with you. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Awareness of what matters, of who you are, of how you want to show up while you're here. Because the real treasure in life, it's not in reaching some destination. It's in the moments when your heart softens, your mind expands, and you see the world and yourself with more clarity and care. So keep learning, keep living, and above all, keep trusting time. Because the longer you walk with it, the more it reveals who you were always meant to be. Thank you for watching. And until next time, live gently, live fully, and never stop becoming.